Okay, this is about a complicated install that we did where the meter box was here on this dwelling. The property has an underground mains to a subboard in the house. The solar we placed on the roof of the house here and on the front veranda. So the problem was that the property here, you can see, has an existing small system on the property. It was single phase. So we had an export limit of 5 kilowatts. So we had to export limit the new system down to 2 kilowatts because there was a 3 kilowatt system already existing. So typically the way you do this is you have a cable that runs from your inverter, which the location of the inverter is at the house on this situation. And you would run a cable from the house to the switchboard with what's called a CT clamp. And then you make settings inside the inverter which causes the inverter to only export the limit that the energy provider allows you to. In this case it was 2 kilowatt hours. Now the problem we faced was we didn't have a data cable running from the house to the switchboard on this dwelling. So the problem being that if we export limited at the inverter, it meant that this house here, the secondary house and the entire property wouldn't benefit from the solar usage. So what we did was we used what's called a wireless RS485 meter link, which basically is a wireless system. You have one part of it goes on the house, the other part goes on this part of the house, and it sends a Wi-Fi signal between the two properties, and it means you don't need to dig up your property and run a data cable so that you can do export limits, monitoring and so forth. So this was the solution that we had for this proposal, and it actually worked quite well. The system now generates its power and the entire property gets to use the power because the excess power is generated through the mains or the sub-mains between the two houses. And the RS485 allowed us to be able to control the export limit wirelessly with the inverter being completely separate to where the metering of the property is. So it's a very, very good system for that. It's rare. Typically they do work on a couple of different brand of inverters, but they work very well. The firmware in a Sungrow inverter works very well with these systems, so it's really recommended by the supplier of the RS485 meter link kit that you use a Sungrow inverter in this situation. They just pair up seamlessly. Once they're plugged in and working, they go well. With the standard kit, they come with a standard antenna that has about a 30 meter line of sight. In this case, we opted for their high gain antenna, which is basically, it looks like a rectangular plate as an antenna. As long as these are facing site to site, so in this case they were, we fixed one off on the side of the house here and one on the side of the house down here. So they had a direct line of sight through here. They reach up to 1 kilometre with the high gain antenna. So as long as they've got direct line of sight, you can do Wi-Fi communication links between your inverter and your smart meter on your switchboard up to 1 kilometre away. So they're a great alternative. So hopefully that's helped to answer some questions for you. If you've got a difficult site and you don't have a data communication between where your inverter location is going and where your property metering is, typically it would be on a rural property like this is here, then you can use a wireless RS485 meter link kit, set that up and it should solve your problems. I'm Craig from Solar Run and I look forward to seeing you on the next Solar Facts 101 video. See you next time.